Madam Clerk, could I have a request? Could I have a roll call?
Bishop,
Present.
Black,
Here.
Easley, Case is absent, Riddle,
Here.
Thompson,
Here.
Mayor Davis is absent.
Are there any items to be added to this particular agenda? Okay, here none.
Um,
Did you read this?
all those in favor of the agenda as presented?
Yeah, okay. All in favor of the agenda as presented, ma'am?
Bishop,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Easley, Case is absent, Riddle,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes, here. Okay, all right, now we're into the reports from staff. Now, these are not the reports that we normally would have. This is a special report?
correct.
Correct, this is for the process of the work session.
Okay, all right.
So, council members, the purpose of the work session is to get us into the, as we start the budget process, the discretionary budget side, in the past several years has been a little broken up and I don't want to say haphazard, but broken up and kind of disjointed because of the different committees all meeting around. Committees have a very important role in their very specific items, just like water and sewer, personnel with raises and policies, things like that. But all of our discretionary funds really cross multiple areas and include and involve each and every one of you because you see many different things. And that's our purpose of doing the work session for this budget, is to be collaborative across the board as council members, provide transparency for the citizens. So if they hear something or don't hear something, they can touch base with you later. Oh, you missed this. I'd really like to see X. And then it also will allow us to be hopefully much quicker and efficient in our process so that we're not running up to the last minute at 1 July trying to get a resolution done and things like that. Tonight's first one is real simple. It's really about brainstorming, sharing ideas, and picking that list of non-discretionary, of discretionary items that the town, in your opinion, or from someone else's voice to you, needs to be worked on. If you look at the back of that page, the possible projects, these are just things that I have heard, that I recall in my notes, and that we've discussed over the last couple of years. But I'm sure there's others. So, you look at that list, what are some of the other things that we can add to this list for consideration for our discretionary funding? Remember, at this point, don't focus on cost. It does need to be reasonable in the sense that we can accomplish it, but don't focus on cost. These are things that, hey, these are the ideas. What are some of the areas that we need to consider spending discretionary funds on? Mr. Black? Oh.
Just to get it started, there are a couple of things on here that I think that were pending with some grants, is that correct?
Yes.
Such as the extension of the sidewalk on Peach Street and the
Correct.
sidewalk replacement on Reed.
Correct.
Is that still a possibility?
It's still a possibility.
Okay.
And that's why those things are in there. And again, we may get to the point where cost comes out there, but for right now, it's what are the
Understood,
things we
but
need.
there's still a possibility that there
Correct.
are grants out there. Okay, good, that's, I need to know.
Ms.
One thing, that I don't see on here, but that comes up annually is removal of derelict structures. If that would fit under there. And then, also, Nick, you probably already built this in, but money for the farmer's market.
No, that's good.
And how about, just thinking ahead, I don't have a clue, but you know how every few years we buy a police vehicle or,
That'll come underneath the police budget.
okay,
So that's
So
kind of one of
that's
those practical,
different.
non-discretionary
perfect.
pieces. That will be in there though.
More attorney, please.
Oh,
Here? All right. Wired for sound. Others, items that we might have.
Could we have one of those nice little screens up here, so when you vote, we can have? Yeah.
Technology for the voting room, and I bet
Well, you got your screen back here. Open that screen.
That's technology for voting.
Whatever's the time.
What would be the proper procedure for us to identify those projects which we think are foremost for all of us?
Yeah, at this point, it's just identifying, getting those ideas out there, understanding. The next step will be, we'll prioritize them. So we'll categorize and prioritize them. Right now, it's just, what are those things?
Well, some of these are major expenses and some of these are relatively minor, nothing's minor, but they're cheaper, let's say that. The fire truck is much more expensive than a sidewalk.
And so, again, we'll identify, next step will be prioritize, categorize and prioritize. The next step will be throw that revenue, expected revenue up against it, which shows us what our operational budget is, and then what's available for our discretionary funds. And at that point, even though we have maybe 1 through 10 as our priorities, then you really get to, as council members, you do the hard cutting to go, we really like 1, but if I don't do 1, I can actually do 3, 4, 5, and 6 because of cost. And so we'll adjust, we'll go from ideas, categorize, prioritize, funding applied to, and then that discussion against what true projected revenue and operational requirements are.
Is there anything on this list that is absolutely crucial that you see as town manager as being crucial, that we really have got to do this, whether we like it or not?
I don't. I think once we get into, our farmer's market we have committed to, it's not a big cost. I think that's one of those things that is a simple win, and it's proven itself productive for the town. If you look at, it was brought up the removal of derelict structures, that has popped up a lot in the Reimagine Chatham and multiple, in the 3 years I've been here, that's been a issue over and over. So I think it's a critical item for the development of town. But if it were to, my big push the last several years has been to pave those town roads that have been ignored, and we've got those done. Taylor Street's kind of the only one we have left if we wanted to pave that. It goes between Lynn Street and Pine. And it's a gravel road right now, but that's our only street. So those are kind of things that impact the citizen, correct? The big things for me that are critical kind of be what I'll put in non-discretionary spending. So when we go to water and sewer, we'll talk about required capital improvements that really need to be done as we plan that out and look at those things. The police department will put, a new police car as they do their capital improvement plan and stay up with that.
I see CV, the volunteer fire department's new truck. Can you tell me what that truck is?
What they're asking for is a ladder truck,
It's a
replacement of a
ladder
ladder
truck,
truck.
okay. So,
Are they in line for just ordinary, nothing's ordinary, but another type of truck?
They're really in line for whatever truck they order.
It's a purchase cycle that the county goes through. Where are they in that cycle?
So they will be for what is it, Chief? 2026 is where that funding line is laid against?
But they're not guaranteed.
Well, for the $250,000 they are. There's 2 lines that the county has right now according to public safety. And one is at $250,000 available in 2026. And then they have another line that is unfunded at this time. That's kind of based on what the town requests, and if the town decides to support in, and, kind of that lobby effort back to the county to request assistance on that other line of funding. So as they come up with more discretionary funding, if we go, for example, we go, hey, you've got $250,000, we recognize this is a $2.1 million vehicle, we're gonna put, we're willing to take a loan out for this, can you provide this? And then you go to the county and you ask for that other line to be funded. Now, their current budget, they have projected out that $250,000 for 26. That other piece, they're really waiting on, how does the town weigh in? Does fire department come in there and say, I've got grants for this much? Or the town come in and say, we're willing to support this much, we're asking for help here, for your assistance, because it is a much broader realm than just Chatham.
Well, I just wanna know, Chief, is the ladder truck the only kind of truck you're gonna need?
No, we have two that's gonna need to be replaced.
Yeah, that's what I'm
The
thinking.
ladder truck is the priority because of the Chatham Hall, hard grade, the large buildings. And I'm on the finance committee with the county, and we're also trying, like he said, trying to get, funding, the county to recognize and put more funding towards these specialized apparatuses, because this body cannot fund the entire thing. We cannot fund it, even with both of us. I don't see that being when, a basic truck is $1 million right now, a basic engine, which is the other truck we need to replace, which is a 96. So, and we're getting to the point where we're having to wait 3 and 6 months for parts, and it just turns into one thing after another. But basically what he said, that's where we're at on that truck. So I'm trying to get this body to say we're interested in sharing this expense, so, cause they're not gonna fund the entire thing.
What is the second truck?
The second truck is replacing 211, which is an engine,
Just
a standard engine.
Standard.
Correct, it'd be a rescue engine for us, because what we'd initially like to do in that is replace our 211 with a rescue engine and get rid of our crash truck, possibly. So we would replace 2 trucks essentially.
Is it the crash truck, I'm trying to think, that, the crash truck came from the rescue squad?
Correct.
Okay. Has that ever been used much?
Yes, it gets you some, but it's just another piece that we have to, it carries basically extrication tools.
Yeah.
It gives us a little
Lights.
bit more things, so we could put that on an existing rescue engine, and basically, we wouldn't need it anymore. We just didn't have the luxury before.
I was on the rescue squad board when they were trying to get that truck. And it was supposed to be a demo truck, and we were gonna get a real good deal, but it took 1.5 years, 2 years before they finally delivered the truck.
Yeah. So, and just if I could say one more thing, basically, I just want this body to understand what we're trying to do and to have a plan, understanding that we can't just write a check. I guess is the whole, it's my point anyway, because you're depending on me to let you know what we need.
I just don't know, I don't know how we're gonna get there, but honestly, I think that the county ought to have a fire tax. And just, so it's on everybody's mind, everybody pays it, it's kind of a voluntary thing now, if y'all get donations, and y'all not billing for fires, are you?
No.
See, and that's the thing, it's insurance will pay for that. If you got a fire policy or a homeowner's policy on your house, they'll pay you, I think it's a minimum $500, and it doesn't cost them a dime, the insured. I don't know, y'all ought to think about that, if you can.
That's an ordinance the county board of supervisors